Hello, my friends. Dorothy here. We are going to talk about the full moon on August 30th. It's in the sign of Pisces. And so to me, this is wonderful. I mean, the moon loves being in a water sign, and it helps us. It was definitely going to be feeling the emotion around this one because it's a very sensitive placement for the moon to be. Now, you also will hear, how could you not hear? It's a super moon, it's a blue moon, it's a full moon. It's all three of those things at the same time, all in the sign of Pisces. What this means, the blue moon is nothing astrological or astronomical, so we'll just park that. The supermoon is something that's astronomical because that's just the moon goes around the earth. It's not a perfect circle. There's that globe. It goes around. It's oblong, right? It goes around oblong. And when it's closer to the earth and it happens simultaneously at a full moon phase, then it's called the supermoon. This phase has been coined since the 1970s. It's it's beautiful. It's big, it's gorgeous. Who doesn't love to look at the full moon? Everybody. People feel romance about it. I mean, if you watch a 2.5 hour movie that spans, like months and months in their time frame, and every scene over the castle is a full moon. It's always a full moon. But it sparks something in human nature when we see that moon. So when it is big, when it is close to the earth, when they titled super moon, it stirs up emotions and romance and just deep feelings. Now, I'm close to the ocean, so I get to go to the seacoast. If it's not a cloudy day and if there's not a huge fog bank, there's always a fog bank on the ocean way out there. Not always, but this time of year. The temperature between the air and the ocean is significant, so there's a lot of fog this time of year. And so I might not get to see it, but if you get to see it, I'm going to try. Sparks emotions. That's why it's super fantastic, because it makes us feel wonderful. That's the super moon. And I think this is fantastic. And the last one we had on August 1st was early. August 1st was, no, that was a different sign. Never mind. That was Aquarius. I'm going to share my screen with you. And I'm going to show you the chart that I'm using because I am in New Hampshire. And so the full moon is at 9:36 p.m., but the moonrise for us in New Hampshire is right around 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. But up here in the top left-hand corner, you can see the date, the time, the latitude and longitude. All you have to do is just adjust it for your own time zone for the exact moment of the full moon. I won't talk about house placements or what your zodiac sign is, but I'm talking about the general, the collective energy of what this is. And everything I've just said is already the collective energy. It doesn't matter what your zodiac sign is. We all are experiencing a full moon in Pisces. So with the sun in the sign of Virgo, asking us to pay attention to more details and be more detail oriented and hone in on your daily routine and patterns and cycles, along with Mercury retrograde in that sign. The full moon in Pisces is about flow, spirituality, intuition, water, fog, being delusional, escapism, sacrifice, right? It's all of those things. So I want you to ask yourself some questions, and I have more than what I'm going to say now. It's on my blog post, which is on my website, DorothyMorganAstrologer.com. You can join the website there. There's no charge. Or you can get on my newsletter email list. Also no charge. You have to do all of that through my website. And you can have that newsletter in your inbox. It should be out by now, but it's not, because I just got delayed. Hey, I'm going to share this with you. I just got delayed by a couple of hours because, speaking of Neptune and Venus retrograde, speaking of Neptune, which is illusion, delusion, deception, somebody that I know just got deceived by an account that looks like mine. Somebody cloned my account on Instagram, made friends with people on my list, and said, hey, want to have a reading? Hey, sweetie, I don't talk like that. But I feel bad because this person was open to it. And this happened a couple months ago over on Facebook. Just so you know, I never will ever do that. you have to book your sessions through my website only. It's a booking app, and you have to initiate the process. If you can't find it, I will send you the email, the web address for it. But I'm never going to message you or message you through any of social media asking you if you want to have a reading. I won't do that. That is not the way I run my professional business. Okay. Oh, and I feel so bad. You know who you are, and I still feel bad. I know it's not my fault, but I still feel bad. So people, please do your due diligence. If it doesn't seem right, it's not. And you can't tell the difference. They clone those accounts and they just look like us. It's not just me. It's happening to everybody that has a business like this. All right, back to this. So do your due diligence. And to me, that is Saturn with the, excuse me, I just got one brain blank, big bubble right there. The moon conjunct Saturn is a reason that, I would want you to pay attention and do your due diligence. It really is incredibly important. This is what it looks like. Let me see if I can get my pen to write. We're just going to slow down a little bit. I think I'm going too fast right now because some things aren't working. Here's the full moon. There's the sun over there in Virgo. But the moon, just a few hours before it's in its exactly in the full stage, made its conjunction to Saturn. And even by declination, which is just another measurement by the equator, the moon and Saturn are together within 1 degree over there as well. So that adds a lot of strength to the fact that with Saturn, with the moon in Pisces, what are the boundaries? You need some boundaries. We need to pay attention to what we're focusing on. We need to pay attention to the details, the sun in Virgo, but we also need to trust our intuition and our instinct, trust the flow. But we also need to create boundaries and recognize where we are feeling or looking at what we think is like, is this truth or not? We need to pay attention to some of these things. It's incredibly important that we take responsibility for the boundaries that we have around us, for the people that may be taking too much from us. And then even yourself, it's like, are you sacrificing yourself for others? In a way, I mean, I get when we need to do that at periods in our lives because somebody just needs more from us than we can get from them. But that definitely has to wax and wane. It can't be 100% of the time. I want you to ask yourself those questions. Again, those questions and more are written down on my blog post, so you can check that out. So make sure and ask yourself, some of these questions, are you overwhelmed? If you are, put up some boundaries. Do you need your space? Figure out how you can carve out some of your own space. I know if you live with a lot of people, that's not always easy, but find a way and be in the present moment when you're finding your own space. Again, are some people asking for too much or going over those boundaries? Sometimes we have to put those boundaries up, especially around certain people, right? So this full moon will illuminate those things for us to see, and it will give us that opportunity to find our own balance, our own harmony, and our own insight, right? That's what the main point of this is, the flow versus boundaries, right? We have that. We have service, right? Service versus sacrifice. We have that. So that's the real physical pieces of it. But we can also look at this full moon in the sign of Pisces and, start tapping into and looking into what are your goals and dreams and insight, right? Where do you want to meet the divine or find more time for meditation or spirit work or soul path work or soulmate work? Full moons, while there isn't anything in the Pisces energy that represents relationships, full moons represent relationships because the sun and the moon are in an opposition, and that just represents relationships. So it could be that there is this opportunity in your life to clarify what's going on in a relationship that you've just been sailing along for a long time, and it's not so great. And you finally say, I want more out of this relationship, or we need to have a talk. Those are things that can be really, really important because, just to add to this, I mean, we have had Venus retrograde, and she still is until, what is it, September 3rd. Yeah, she's still retrograde, and Venus is that lady of love. And so that is really important for us to get in alignment with that too. This is just for some of us, not everybody. And let me share my screen one more time. See if there is anything else that I want to cover with this. There's always more, of course. I mean, there's just always so much to talk about, but I've written a lot out too. So again, go to the website there. What else do we have going on with this? Seems like the sun over here, the sun, that's it. It's opposite this moon, and it's opposite Saturn. And that's it for this moment in time and for that full moon. So that's mainly what it represents. And that is what we have to work with at this point in time. So now I'm going to stop my share. And I'm going to grab my notes, but you won't see them. But it's in the forecast. It's in the written forecast. Now, lunar gestation cycles, you can go read about that much deeper, but just in a nutshell, this full moon is 18 months from a new moon that we had. And so we're at a point in the cycle, halfway point in the lunar gestation cycle, where we're made aware of what is working for us and what isn't working for us in regard to something that we may have started or was initiated. Even if we didn't initiate it, sometimes things happen around us that is still for us. The new moon on March 2nd, 2022, that is correct. March 2nd, 2022 at 12 degrees of Pisces was a new moon. This full moon on August 30th is 18 months from that, and they're all in the very same position, close to the same position. This is a longer lunar cycle. This is not just a month cycle. What did you begin then? So the beginning of this new moon lunar gestation cycle brings awareness, fresh new zodiac sign back then, fresh opportunity to learn and explore new things. Again, what are those new things in Pisces? Setting goals around meditation, around boundaries, around flow, around insight, around dreams, hopes and dreams, especially compassion. I haven't used that word yet today because that is part of Pisces too. So you initiated something back then. 9 months after that date, the date again, March 2nd, 2022, 9 months after that was the first quarter moon, also around the same area today's full moon is in, and that was November 30th, 2022. This is a turning point in this lunar phase, and what was sprouting, what got your attention that you initiated back at that new moon. And that represents this opportunity to start to work on certain things that really are growing and starting to grow and starting to get your attention. So there may be a little challenge there, but the challenge is to work harder towards your goal, right? You have the courage and the strength to do. And now here we are 9 months after that. We're now back to today's full moon, August 30th, 2023, the full moon in the sign of Pisces, also in that same area of Pisces. They're all within 4 or 5 degrees. And this full moon brings us to that phase where we're focusing again on relationships, partnerships, social matters, awareness around these things that I have already talked about with Pisces, boundaries and sacrifice and service, etc. It's based off of all of that. 9 months from then, from this one, will be the final lunar phase. And at that point, we will be tying up loose ends. All right. But that's part of our weekly forecast over in Patreon, which I would love you to join us over there. We go in depth even more. And so, yeah, that's what I mean. And saying that, of course, Patreon gets this first, the full moon and the new moon. They get it first every time. So they get ahead of time, and that's a perk for a couple of different levels over there as well. You guys, thank you so much. And yeah, find your boundaries, do your meditations, do the things that help you to flow. Don't overdo the drinking or the edibles. Don't overdo it. Do it a little if you want, just don't overdo it. But we're tempted to overdo it when we have a full moon like this. However, Saturn is he's the rules and the regulations. So I don't know, probably won't overdo it too much. All right, you guys have a great week, and I will see you next time. Blessings and namaste.